from RIM Systems. Text, web, email, power in the palm of your hand for the professional on the go. And introducing the BlackBerry Helmet, reinforced polymer to protect the skull of the mobile professional on the go, with an antenna for better BlackBerry reception so you can spend more time on your BlackBerry. And a camera that broadcasts a picture of what's in front of you to your BlackBerry so you can always be looking at your BlackBerry. The BlackBerry Helmet with optional safety flag. Protect your...
Is this true though? You don't use a BlackBerry?
No. Oh, no. Do you have a BlackBerry?
I do have a BlackBerry, yeah.
I don't. My wife has one, and I find the BlackBerry people, their eyes, the pupils don't focus. They seem to be, they always hold it in their hand, because this is what BlackBerry commands them to do. And they listen to what you're saying, and they compare it to what is on the BlackBerry, which is really more interesting here to me. Don't they do that? They go, you know what, I think there's more buttons here than on your face, you know. And I hate that slow head down. You know the slow head down, the I hate that. I mean, do we even know what rudeness is anymore? I mean, can I just pick up a magazine, put it in front of your face, and read it while you're talking? Is that okay?
Now, I'm saying, what about the iPhone? I mean, the iPhone is, that's what all the cool people using.
Yeah,
Has your wife been tempted by the iPhone?
No, sure, it's got all that stuff. All my pretentious show business friends have the iPhone. But you know, you can't slam the iPhone down when you're mad. That's what I don't like. I never want to talk to you again the rest of my life.
60% of all human communication is nonverbal, body language. 30% is your tone. So that means that 90% of what you're saying ain't coming out of your mouth.
See, now, I've done all that. Now it's time for silence.
Silence? Yes! Kramer, you're never going to be able to completely stop talking.
Jerry, 94% of communication is nonverbal. Here, watch.
What does this mean?
And so I guess his whole angle is, watch out, George Bush, except for economic policy.
To what? What's it going to be?
Let me give you some examples. We have to extend tax credits for solar, wind, hydro. We just visited hydro. Figure out what works, and some things are going to work and some things are not. Look, I had a meeting with T. Boone Pickett. Here's an example. He is absolutely right that we can't sustain importing 70%.
Everybody knows that, but you've got to have a plan.
And I do have a plan.
You should get nukes involved. Why aren't you getting...
Selling off of the Tipping Point, Blink, and Outliers.
And I'm much more interested in culture. So that aside,
but you're interested in something that has a common denominator. Entertaining because people want to duplicate your success. They always ask this question: how does he find the story, which you finally have told us?
Yeah, I mean, I try in the kind of forward to the volume to, but I say in the forward, it's about teaching yourself that everything is interesting. Because our natural inclination as humans is, when we're confronted with things, we immediately try to edit. We have to edit, right? And we have to sort of dismiss things and say, I'm not interested in that, and not interested in that. You have to reverse that very common human desire to edit and just to surrender and just to
say everything is interesting. All I have to do is show it.
Is ask questions, is follow up, is if you get trapped next to someone on an airplane and they start talking to you, you have to resist the impulse to say, I don't want to hear it. I have to say, well, actually, maybe there's a chance they'll... And believe me, I've heard things from people in airplanes that have, like, perked up my ears, and all of us have a kind of blind spot around our own stories. Yeah. And we don't realize what's interesting about our own lives. And I count myself among them. You know, it takes an outsider to see sometimes what's beautiful or interesting in someone's life.
But I also find that people like to tell their stories.
Yes.
So do you think your gift is the capacity to hang in there and get the story, or the capacity to recognize it and connect it in some important way?
You always discover some kind of hidden artistry in what they do, right? You think you understand what a radiologist does for a living, and then you sit down and you talk to the radiologist, and about 2 hours in, you're like, oh, I see, right? There's a whole nother layer I didn't understand.
Yeah, exactly.
And you understand this guy is not or this woman is not they're not a technician, they're not they're an artist on some kind of fundamental level.
Exactly right. Now he has compiled 19 of his favorite New Yorker pieces into this single volume. It is called, what a great title, What the Dog Saw.
Alvy, let's face it, I don't think our relationship is working.
I know. A relationship, I think, is like a shark. It has to constantly move forward or it dies. And I think